Matchweek 29 in the books with some makeup games. City blowing the lead as we speak. Draw at Crystal Palace. Liverpool with a win against Brighton, pulling them within 4 points of Manchester City with a game in hand. Big game between United and Tottenham as they race for top 4, along with West Ham and Arsenal. Victories, all that, and everything else for Matchweek 29 in the makeup games. This is the Premiership Perusal podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs, and the ball in behind Damian Varney! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Varney!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
You know, I'm starting to think this season it's kind of like that Robin Williams meme where it's like, what year is it?
The Jumanji one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what match week is it? Who knows? No one knows what match week it is anymore.
No one knows.
It's just roughly a match week. And
yeah, and then there's always one or two leftover ones as well. Well, speaking of leftovers, let's get right into the leftovers. They weren't bad matches, but they weren't very good.
They were matches.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
We got Norwich. We got Chelsea. Krul, Aarons, Hanley, Zimmerman, Kabak, Williams, Norman, Lees-Malou, McLean, Pookie, and Sargent. So, honestly, kind of just not a whole revamp of Norwich's lineup, but definitely different from what we've been seeing, a 5-3-2.
Yeah. Zimmerman, first start.
Yeah, and Kabak kind of getting back in the lap. No Ben Gibson.
Right.
So,
well, Ben Gibson disaster class in last game.
Chelsea, Mendy, Christensen, Silva, Chalobah, Jorginho, Kovacic, Saul, wingback Saul out there.
Key piece Saul.
Dave, Aspilicueta, Timo Werner, Mason Mount, Kai Havertz.
You know, it's great to see Timo Werner getting back in there. You know, everyone laughs at him, but I'm rooting for the guy.
He's one of those guys where it's Chelsea fans will probably always love him because he at least tries and he does a bunch of stuff because he knows that he can't score. So he's like, I'm going to do everything I possibly can, whereas...
I don't know. It seems like he's like the most unlucky person ever, like in terms of scoring, but then he's like just offside or hitting the post.
Yeah.
He's just unlucky. Bad luck, Timo.
To the game. Right off the bat, Chelsea score a goal. They have possession for the first 3 minutes, leads to a corner, which Chalobah scores. Sargent/Zimmerman, just not good marking by either of them. I'll always hate zonal marking when it comes down to that.
Agreed.
Chelsea have a chance. It's 30 seconds after the goal because Norwich try and play up from the back. It was really a strong Chelsea performance early. Faded towards the start of the second half, and then got stronger as it went on. But first half was all Chelsea, even though, at moments they weren't on top of their game. But they have the skill to turn defense into attack quickly.
Yeah.
Able to get a second goal, playing on the edge of the box. Playing on the edge of the shoulders of the Norwich defenders. Kai Havertz cut back. Little Mason Mount action. Good to get him.
Yeah,
going.
A lot of people were calling for him to be potentially dropped, but came up big in this match, goal and assist.
Yeah, I don't think Chelsea can really drop anyone right now. They just have to. They might have like some rotation, but you're going to be playing a lot, as evidence of Saul playing.
Yeah.
About 20 minutes in, Norwich first shot, some nice passing. Not really testing Chelsea's defense. Chelsea's defense looked very good, and their midfield as well in terms of positioning, just not ever allowing Norwich to even consider breaking out. So Chelsea's best chance after the first couple goals was off a corner. Kovacic hits the post on a volley. Other than that, didn't have a ton of chances. Second half, Chelsea still able to get behind Norwich backline. Mount with a great chance, but saved by Kroll. Norwich have some spells which allow, for the second half to be a little back and forth at times. And eventually they get a goal. Give the ball away, and then just a handball in the box. Pukki puts it away, 2-1. You think you might have a game, especially after that goal. Good set-piece routine for Norwich. Chelsea just, we've seen it. We've seen them mainly last year, and now it's coming back again where it's like that 10, 15-minute stretch where it's just like they don't look like the same team. After that big chance, Chelsea started to calm things down. Eventually, Lukaku has a chance as he subbed on, but they finally get their third goal to seal it. Kai Havertz from Conte. Great finish by Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz.
Goal scoring machine.
I think we have to talk about it. What's going on?
Well, everyone...
Goals and assists galore.
Everyone needs the Burnleys and the Norwich games to really boost their morale. But,
yeah, and he's killing it now. Looks amazing out there.
Well, better than Lukaku, I suppose.
Yes, that is true. So 3-1 for Chelsea. Norwich, we already knew, but your fate's sealed. I do like the idea of just trying different stuff, see what sticks.
Yeah, for sure.
In this one, their defense still not very good. They don't have many options, but
yeah,
I don't know. I would try and just get as much rotation as possible. We see that a little more with the Norwich Leeds game where they bring on Rowe. Just completely different, fresh face. Might as well. So,
yeah, something to consider going forward and, looking potentially to next season. Who's going to be around? Who do you want to keep? Who do you want to get rid of?
Yep.
Those changes will need to be made. In terms of Chelsea, they got the job done. Wasn't necessarily the best performance, but
no,
doesn't matter.
No.
Moving on to the next match of the week, Southampton versus Newcastle.
This is a beautiful matchup.
This is a beautiful matchup. Getting into the lineup, Southampton, Forster, Walker-Peters, Livramento, Salisu, Bednarak, Romeu, Ward-Prowse, Stu Armstrong, El Yunusi, Che Adams, and Armando Broja.
So stick with the same lineup even though they just got absolutely wrecked versus Villa. Well, I shouldn't say exact same lineup, but very similar, formation and personnel.
In terms of Newcastle, Dubravka, Schär, Target, Kraft, Byrne, Shelvey, Willock, Bruno G getting the first start
there
in
he
midfield. No Joel Ellington.
Yep.
Out with a slight injury, I believe. Chris Wood, Frazier, and Jacob Murphy again. No ASM, same as the last match. Getting into the game, Southampton doing what they do best. Got off to a good start, had some good possession. 23rd minute, they had a chance through Broja. Good chance, hit it high and wide. Kind of been disappointing lately from Broja. Hasn't quite had the production that he had earlier in the season.
No, he's kind of better when you either feed him directly or you just give him a little space to work. Asking him from edge of the box and stuff like that, not really what he's going to be doing. He's got to be in the box. Not necessarily, similar play style to former Premier League player Aubameyang, but same way in the way like Aubameyang was always scoring like in the box. It was never really outside the box bangers or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
shortly after, just a couple of minutes later, Southampton take the lead, scramble in the box. Newcastle can't really clear it. Stu Armstrong gets a touch on it, and it deflects off of Dan Burn and ends up in the Newcastle net. Just a real crap goal overall.
Yeah, but you love to see it out of Stu Armstrong.
Yeah, friends of the pod, Stu Armstrong versus Dan Byrne. You know,
They
we'd
have
love
to
to see
duke
it,
it
but we
out.
hate to see it.
Uh-huh.
So Southampton take the lead. Good start, capping off a good start. But it didn't last long. 32nd minute, Chris Wood picks up his first goal in the Newcastle colours. Nice ball in from Mr. John Joe Shelby.
Yeah, right on his head. You know, you would have had the prediction right, but you didn't anticipate Chris Wood would arrive. He arrived.
Yeah, you kind of forget he was on the team. But great ball from John Joe Shelby. And that equalized it. 37th minute. Che Adams has a great volley effort. Hits off the underside of the crossbar and out.
That's about as hard as you can hit a ball.
Yeah,
He
he hit it too good, really.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
got all the laces through it.
Goes into halftime, 1-1. Southampton, disappointing to concede after having a good start. Newcastle, kind of similar play style how they played last week, where it was less focused on possession, more defensive work.
Yeah, kind of, this looks like a match from early in the season where it's like Newcastle willing to sit back and Southampton starting so strong, but yet, capitulating and blowing
Yeah.
what they had.
So coming out of halftime, Newcastle get a second goal through Mr. Bruno Guimaraes. First goal. It was the day of first goals.
It's a
for
hell of a
Newcastle.
first goal.
Just a really interesting
Back heel.
back heel flick. Very inventive.
Giroud-esque.
Giroud-esque. Just something you really don't see every day. Probably one of the goals of the season for Newcastle and just in general in the league.
Yeah.
And then Newcastle really putting pressure on after that second goal. You thought maybe they would score a third even. But then as the second half wound down, Newcastle went back into the defensive shape. Southampton really started going for the equalizer. Dubravka coming up clutch, making some big saves. Livramento almost scoring from the shots.
Yeah.
And then 89th minute, Salisu,
Great chance.
great chance from the header. And just amazing save by Dubravka there. And just before the final whistle, Stu Armstrong has an effort go just high.
Yeah, I can't believe he got that shot off.
Mm-hmm.
But
Newcastle take all 3 points. It was kind of a gritty victory.
it was a very, very Southampton early season performance by them.
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle, keep on trucking, keep on rolling.
Yeah.
They have it's not only it's impressive when they get, a lead and they're able to hold it, but even the comeback effort, truly, truly amazing to
this-
see how far this
This was kind of like the first
squad
time
has
where
come.
they had gone down like that and made the comeback.
Yeah.
So,
It's impressive to get wins all, variety of ways
yeah.
out there
Yeah, for sure.
from your team that's trying to build up from, potential relegation team to now they might push for lower mid-table.
Mm-hmm. In terms of Southampton, you let one slide. You had the poor match in the previous one, starting to drop off a bit.
Yeah, maybe Hasenhüttl looks at formation and personnel out there. Maybe a little more rotation in the midfield or attack. Get someone else out there instead of Broja. Maybe Armstrong, the other Armstrong, Adam Armstrong.
Yeah.
So, but who knows? We'll see.
Yep. Moving on to the next game.
Moving on.
Speaking of relegation candidates, Wolverhampton Wanderers
Going down.
Versus-
They are going down. You heard it here first.
versus Watford. The lineups.
Couldn't believe Willie Bolly got to play.
I know, that was a real...
I forgot he existed.
Yeah, I did too. Jose Saw, Willie Boley, Connor Cody, Saiz. Oh, shoot.
Ait Nouri!
I clicked on Ait Noor's profile picture there. Didn't know that was a thing. See, that's what happens when the mouse is melted and I have to use my fingers.
Sure.
Ruben Neves, João Moutinho, Raul Jimenez, Podence, and Huang Hee-Chan. For Watford, Ben Foster, Kamara, Cathcart, Femenia, Samir, Loza, Tom Cleves, Sissoko, King, Dennis, and Cucho Hernandez.
It's just strange that Watford would kind of... I mean, I get going a little more attack, but I'll forever not understand the whole Josh King thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, might as well have anyone else out there literally at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. I was also surprised Femenia getting back into the lineup after their last performance. But
yeah, I would say that too, but everyone in Watford's defense minus like Kamara kind of stinks.
Yeah.
Samir's okay, I guess, at times.
So getting into this game, right off the bat, Watford win a penalty in the 8th minute, but Josh King was offside, and that's kind of a foreshadowing of things to come as it's all downhill from there. Just a few minutes later, 13th minute, Jimenez opens up the scoring. Huang with a nice move into the box, pass over to Jimenez, who scores from close range. Nicely worked goal out of Wolves.
You talked about Kai Havertz needing Norwich to help him out. Huang Hee-Chan has been absolute dookie, and he comes out here and he's like, Watford, rubbing his hands, don't mind if I do.
Don't mind if I do. And then he I thought I had notes about this, but maybe this was in a different game. Let's see. Let me look at this.
The Everton game?
Yeah, okay, that was in the Everton game. Never mind. Yeah, Wolves continue. 18th minute, they get a second. Cucho giveth and Cucho taketh away as he puts it into his own net from close range. Nice move by Ait Nouri.
Yeah. It's kind of strange because I felt like he could have passed sooner or shot, and he kind of got bailed out by Cucho.
Yeah, for sure.
Putting it in, but...
Yeah. And then just a few minutes later, Wolves add a third. And Ben Foster look away because
he was looking away.
It was a real goof. He dribbled out of danger, what he thought was out of danger, kind of going out.
Yeah.
Not out of
He's
his
like,
own
let
box,
me hit this grounder right up the middle, straight up the field, right at Podence.
Yeah, right at Podence, and then is completely out of net, and Podence just chucks it in there, and what do you know? Wolves are up 3-0, 21 minutes into the game.
Yeah. The potent attack of Wolves just destroying Watford's distraught defense.
Exactly what we thought would happen. We didn't think that Watford could potentially win this game.
Well, you know, when Watford come out and they think we can get away with slightly less defense than normal, surely this is Wolves. We have to score on them, and they're good at defense.
That's true.
And Wolves are like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, very true, very true. 25th minute, King has a chance on the break, hits it over, continues his poor run of form.
Yeah.
After that, the game, really not a whole lot. You know, Watford were out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Wolves happy to just kind of pass around the ball. And
yeah, Wolves just holding possession, kind of seeing the game out for the most part. Pretty comfortable. There weren't that many chances for Watford in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
But then Neves caps it with an amazing goal. A lovely, scrumptious chip.
Yeah, Cantona-esque chip there.
Dirty. Right on Ben Foster's head.
Yeah, that was really the icing on the cake, just to feel awful if you're Watford.
Dunked on him.
Good win for Wolves. Get some mojo going.
Yeah, you know, a couple tough losses to some good teams. And we said, hey, on the pod, we said they can't make this a habit. They got to come out and they got to start playing better again.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'd say this qualifies as playing better. Even though Watford helped you out quite a bit, you still took advantage.
Yeah,
which you haven't been able to do in a lot of games this year, is take advantage in front of net. So
kind of a self-implosion out of Watford. But
should we talk more about self-implosion?
Yes.
All right. Here's Leeds Villa.
Marching on together.
Melier, Ayling, Firpo, Dallas, Struijk, Forshaw, Cook, Rafinha, Rodrigo, Harrison, and Dan James for Villa. It is Emi Martinez, Matty Cash, Tyrone Mings, Callum Chambers, Digne, Luis McGinn, Coutinho, Ramsey, Watkins, Ings.
Good to see Luca Digne getting back in there.
Back in there, yeah. Kind of balanced early. And it felt like Villa's really trying to make sure Leeds couldn't get in behind or get comfortable really in their own half. So it was pressing a little bit certain circumstances. It wasn't quite, exactly like the Brighton game plan that they had. But I think Villa being so susceptible early on in games is kind of why they're like, all right, well, we just can't let Leeds get out early and we'll break them down eventually, was the thought, which eventually does happen. Villa get a goal, had a chance before the goal, but they recover it, score it again for Coutinho, who shot deflects in. After that, still kind of all Villa for the most part. They just looked really comfortable in their shape this game and not really. They had the edge, but they weren't necessarily pressing things, although it does help that Leeds defense grants so much space to other teams. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Best chances of the first half for them had to be from McGinn and Luis Diaz free kick, kind of from distance, but still good shots. Had to be safe.
Diaz? Douglas Luis.
No. Luis Diaz.
Oh, didn't you hear he signed for Aston Villa instead?
He did, yeah. He left.
He's a
Stevie
boyhood
G.
boy.
Brought-
Yeah. Stevie G went to the Anfield training ground or Liverpool training ground, stole him.
He's like, do you know who I am, mate?
Oh,
Friend of the Premiership Perusal podcast.
it's me, Stevie G. Hi, Lewis. You come over here.
Hey, Lewis.
You come over to Aston Villa. We've got Callum Chambers.
Second half, Leeds more on the front foot and attack early on. With that said, Villa get one chance and they score. They were the worst side for most of the second half early on, but all it takes is some Leeds defense. Villa on the left side, and Leeds, I wish there was some way I could show you like the overload that Leeds defense was doing. Matty Cash was wide open in like the middle / edge of the box. Just wide open. All he had to do was fake a shot, fur post slides past him. No one else is near. There's no center backs in sight. 1-on-1 with the keep. Matty Cash.
Goal scoring Matty Cash.
The goal scoring Matty Cash.
Some might even say cash money.
Not me. I say Polish international.
Yeah.
Mateusz Kaczynski.
What's the currency of Poland? I don't know.
I'm not
Euros?
sure.
Are they part of the EU?
I think so.
I don't know. Straight Euros, baby.
Third goal, free kick swung in. Mings heads it back, edge of the box, where no one is marking Sam's guy, Callum Chambers, and curls it
Oh,
far post, upper 90.
learned that one from Rob Holding.
Finishes 3-0. Leeds defense, leaky Leeds, we'll call them this season. That's what they'll be known as. They just give so much space.
Yeah, they have to be the most unorganized team in general.
Yeah.
Defense, midfield.
It doesn't help
attack.
when, like, it's not only that you have a lack of depth, but, like, whatever depth you do have is, like, it's out of position. Like, Robin Koch is not a defensive midfielder.
I'm not
We've
sure
been saying that for
what position he's
I guess he's a center back, like, naturally, but he's definitely not a defensive midfielder. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But brutal for Leeds, especially given the fact that you actually looked pretty decent in the first game against Leicester. Now you have this against Villa. It's like, oh, what are we doing? As far as Villa, another great performance, and this time with a great result. They've been kind of hot lately,
Yeah.
getting up back around bottom half of the top half, if that makes sense, around 10. So good for them.
Mid-table, one might even say.
Yeah, but, upper mid-table, baby.
Upper mid-table.
We're upper
But
mid-table now,
not
baby.
too upper.
No.
Middle mid-table.
Yes. Mid-table.
Mid-table.
Moving on to the weekend games. Brighton, Liverpool, at the Amex. Lineups. Robert Sanchez, Lamptey, Cucurella, Dunk, Veltman, Bissouma, McAllister, Trossard, Alzate, March, Maupay. For Liverpool, we have Alisson, Van Dijk, Robertson, Matip, Alexander-Arnold, Fabinho, Keita, Henderson, Mane, Salah, and Aston Villa's own Luis Diaz.
Yeah, I'd like to see the change in formation out of Brighton there.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going with like two strikers or the back three.
Yeah, but
just kind of load up on the midfielders.
Yeah, still able to load up the midfield is the main thing for him. This one, there wasn't a ton of flow to it early on. I'd say that it seemed like Liverpool was trying to establish possession, and then passing just was not very good this game. Even just taking care of the ball in general, not great from Liverpool. Brighton was able to go fast, kind of counterattack, fast build-up play action. Had some chances. Maupay in the first 5 minutes probably had the best chance, but after I'd say about 10 minutes or so, Liverpool were able to still maintain possession, kind of begin to limit the threat of Brighton, which kind of carried over for most of the game. But first goal, this one, very strange one. Great ball by Matip, in behind for Diaz, scores, but Sanchez completely taking out Diaz.
Yeah.
No card, and I think it's only because he scored. Should he still, what should have happened? No card, yellow card, red card. I feel like he still should have got a yellow even though he scored.
It's got to be a baseline yellow, right? Just for that contact.
Sprinted right into him. There's no way.
Yeah, there's got to be something. I mean,
in
in that scenario, I feel comfortable with a yellow since they scored the goal.
I was going to say, it's probably a red if they don't score, which is weird why there's no card, seeing as how they did score. I felt like a yellow with the goal is the right call. But yeah, like I was saying, Brighton, early start in terms of getting their chances, and then kind of faded. Liverpool defense able to just kind of, they weren't nearly as leaky as I've seen them the past few weeks in terms of having slip-ups. But, Liverpool still didn't look that great in attack themselves. Mo Salah is still not looking that great. Robertson had a ball all the way from the edge of Liverpool's box to the midline where Salah was. Salah ran all the way down, one-on-one with the keeper, and gets stuffed. So, I don't know. Has he been solved? Have we solved Mo Salah? Is he done? He's in shambles?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, AFCON ended his career.
Second half opens with a Brighton chance right away. Trossard not able to put it on net. Salah with a chance went onto the bar, or deflected onto the bar. Eventually, Liverpool get their second goal. Bissouma stuck his arm out, which was weird because it looked like the shot was going to go wide anyways. Stuck his arm out, blocked in the box. Pen, Salah converts. Maybe he's not solved.
Pen merchant.
Not much throughout the rest of this game. I would say two takeaways was Luis Diaz is very tough. Not only with that Diaz, or with the Sanchez play, but just throughout the game, Brighton were definitely being very physical, especially with him closing out late on tackles and stuff. So,
yeah, good attribute to have.
Yeah, that's one thing. And then there was one strange play, and I don't think VAR could review it or anything unless somehow it was reviewed on the field. I don't think it could have been overturned. I'm pretty sure Alisson handled the ball outside the box one time. And there was a big shout for it, and they showed it like a one time, and you couldn't really tell because there wasn't a good angle. Like there wasn't an overhead angle, but I'm almost positive it was outside the box.
Fair play.
Other than that,
2-0
Liverpool. It's what Liverpool have been doing all year. Just not the best of performances, but great results.
Yeah.
Good enough performance to get these good results. Brighton, absolute in a tailspin. It just comes down, they have to get the attack going. I mean, again, another game where they don't score.
Yeah, you come into this game thinking, oh, it's a little different scenario because lately you've been attacking a lot and not really been able to break down teams, whereas this one, you have the chance to play more on the counterattack, maybe get guys like Lamptey and Kukurea more involved,
Yeah.
but I just can't get it going.
No, I think that they're going to have to eventually have something come from these secondary guys that they have as their primary guy. I think Trossard and McAllister eventually they have to get something going because I don't know what else that there is. I mean, they're trying these different lineup formations. There's clearly really nothing. Maupay, I mean, he's Maupay. What are you going to do? And Welbeck's Welbeck. I mean,
Right.
you can sit there trying to tell me they're good till the cows come home. I don't believe you.
Yeah, it's funny they chose to play Maupay in this one, where I feel like Danny Welbeck would have been the better choice, just because he can hit on the counter. But I mean, I don't think it would have made a difference.
No, not really. I don't know. They had chances inside the first 10. You just go take one of those. You never know. But
Yeah.
speaking of taking chances,
Speaking of taking chances, we're talking about Brentford versus Burnley.
we're talking about top 5 Premier League goal scorer Ivan Toney.
Ivan
live and
Toney,
in person.
pen merchant. Brentford lineups in net: Raya, Ayer, Henry, Pinnock, Jansen, Norgard, Canos, Mbumo, Eriksson, Janelt, and Toney. Good to see him switching up the formation, dropping Mbumo back into the midfield,
Yeah.
going with the 5 midfielders. I like that decision. That's something we've talked about on prior episodes. I was gonna say
I mean,
previous
it's nice mainly because you still get Mbumo has a decent enough work rate. The thing that I mainly see with it is you can have a nice rotation from who's going up a little further with Toney in terms of Eriksson and Buemo, depending on how you want to go about it.
Yeah.
But it just gives more attacking versatility to them, which they'd been lacking for quite a while.
Yes, most definitely.
Unlike this club.
For Burnley, Nick Pope, Charlie Taylor, Tarkovsky, Roberts, Nathan Collins, Brownhill, McNeil, Aaron Lennon, Westwood, Voot, Veghorst, and Max Cornet.
Yeah, they don't have any versatility or anything on this team in terms of scoring. It has to be Veghorst or Cornet or Mr. Aaron Lennon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a place you want to be.
First half of the game, it was fairly open. Both teams kind of getting some chances. Burnley had a couple half chances, but nothing really like, oh, they should be scoring this. Brentford had the more quality chances. 15th minute, Eriksson had a nice shot saved by Pope. Again, putting in some good performances. And, yeah, I mean, I would say Brentford looked to be the better team, looked more likely to score, but not a whole lot between the teams. Just before halftime, Mbumo nearly scores. Tarkovsky clears it from a yard out. Goes into halftime, 0-0. Coming out second half, Janelt has a header go just over. That was a good chance. He had the open header. Should have done better. Got a little too much purchase on the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been a thing with Brentford throughout this year. Even when they were going well, it just seems like... I mean, you can't fully rely on guys like Norgard and Canos. Well, Canos maybe a little more than guys like Norgard and Jansen and Janelt. But these guys who are either kind of two-way in terms of they can attack, they can defend, but they don't excel at anything.
Yeah.
Or they're just generally defensive-minded. It's kind of hard to bank on them scoring these. And early in the year, they kind of had that too, where it's like it fall to them, but they couldn't quite score it. So still an issue, but that's what happens when you're out there and you're just okay at everything.
Yeah. Speaking of not taking chances, 70th minute, Cornet has a great opportunity at net after a terrible Rico Henry back pass, but just a real awful attempt at goal, and he shot it straight at Raya. Even saying shot was kind of generous because it was really more like a pass. And then Jay Rodriguez, 75th minute, with the not goal, the chance of the season, maybe. It was an absolute banger,
It was really out of nowhere.
long range. Yeah, out of nowhere.
He was just like running up, and Brentford was giving it to him. He's like, all right, here it comes.
All right,
Just a
35
curler.
yards out. I'm going to smash this one off the crossbar. Hits it too good. Doesn't go in. And then it's kind of the implosion of Burnley, as in the 85th minute, Ivan Toney scores from a header. Nice ball in from Christian Eriksen, getting the assist. Good to see that. Poor defending from Charlie Taylor
Yeah, at the back post.
at the back post, losing his man there.
What can you do? Ivan Toney, top 5 goal scorer.
Yes,
Ivan Toney.
absolutely. At least that was a legitimate goal,
Yes.
from open play.
Maybe he's the new Sterling.
Yeah, maybe. He does like to get angry at people.
He does.
At that point, just a huge sense of disappointment because Burnley had some chances there with the Rodriguez, with Cornet, thinking they probably should have scored off of one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And then to concede like that, you could really sense the frustration after that goal. And then just before the end of the game, Nathan Collins, with the boneheaded play, takes down Ivan Toney. Last man back, gets sent off. And a penalty is awarded.
You just got to have faith that Nick Pope's going to save that one-on-one against Ivan Toney.
Yeah. And Ivan Toney steps up and converts the penalty. Thomas Frank says he's the best penalty taker in the world.
Wow.
Who knows? Maybe. I don't know. It seems like he just does the same thing over and over. But
that's the beauty of his. It's perfection that you can't mess with.
I guess so. Brentford get a big 2-0 win. That really helps them in terms of getting some cushion back.
What are they at right now? Let me look. I'll pull it up.
Yeah.
You tell me about Burnley's outlook.
Yeah, let's see. So Brentford move up to 15th on 30 points. Burnley.
How many more points does Brentford need to be safe? I always feel like 40 is the number, but this year might be a little under that. I think like 37 might be enough.
Yeah, I think, well, you have Leeds who are pretty awful lately.
Everton have 3 games in hand, but that doesn't even matter. They might get a point out of those.
And I don't know if you've looked at Everton's schedule, but it is insane.
Yeah,
Like
we'll walk
it's
through it later.
ridiculous. But
We'll walk through it.
and you have Norwich who are kind of like guaranteed to go down at this point.
Yeah,
So I feel like Brentford are in a pretty good spot because I'd favor Leeds to go down ahead of them. I might even favor Everton to go down ahead of them. I think I'd favor Watford to go down ahead of them.
we see you might favor Everton to go down before Brentford.
Yeah, just because of...
There's 3 games in hand, but that's 8 points. That's an 8-point gap. That's a lot for Everton.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay,
They'd have to win all 3 to
okay,
move ahead of
okay,
them.
I take it back. Okay. You're just coming at me with the hot takes. My freaking hamsters
No,
and
but
my brain can't.
but what would you put the point total at to stay up this year? Like 36, 37, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
it's-
35. It could
that
be.
8-point gap that they have right now between them and Everton, that's pretty good with 9 games left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say somewhere around 35-ish, maybe 30, 37. I think that should be plenty.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Moving on to the next game. It was a doozy.
yeah, this was a pretty fun game. Better than I expected.
Oh, well, you expected 3-0 Tottenham somehow. You expected Tottenham's defense to hold up.
Getting into the lineups, talking about Manchester United versus Tottenham for United. De Gea, Maguire, Varane, Dalot, Telles.
I say Tejas.
Tejas. That's
but-
what I was going
But they
for.
say Tellez.
We'll never trust an
over in
Englishman's
Bongland. Over in
Englishman's
Bongland.
pronunciation of a foreign name.
Yeah.
That's pretty much like, oh, that's not how it's said. Pogba, Rashford, Fred, Sancho, Matic, and Cristiano Ronaldo up front for United. Well, sorry, for Tottenham. Lloris, Romero, Eric Dyer, Ben Davies, Doherty, Reguilon, Højbjerg, Bentancur, Heung-min Son, Harry Kane, and Kulusevski.
How they're lined up going into this, whose lineup did you like better?
You know,
Because even though you picked Tottenham to win, I know you don't love that midfield because there's literally not any defensive aspect to it except for maybe Doherty. And, I mean, Reguilon, I guess, has some aspect, but we're talking Central Park. There's no defensive aspect.
yeah, it was interesting because, you know, with the way that Tottenham like to play on the break and whatnot versus United, and I have sometimes very shaky defense.
Yes.
But, you know, there is also that quality there. Sancho's been pretty decent lately.
Yeah.
Ronaldo always seems to pop up and score goals. So
You just got to believe.
So that
it's like
wide-
Santa.
that wide defense was kind of like an area of concern, like you say, with those wing backs there.
Yeah.
Just because Sancho and Ronaldo, you know, they can.
Yeah, the only real
Punish him.
creative presence was Pogba in midfield for United, and that's like, I mean, Bentancur and Højbjerg might be able to neutralize that unless Pogba's doing Pogba things. Then no one's going to be able to stop him. But you
Yeah,
know,
right. Other than those guys, Sancho and Ronaldo, that United midfield is like god awful. Matic, Fred, Rashford has been terrible. Pogba, he's bald now.
that was great.
Very
That
random.
was great. The shaved head out of nowhere.
I mean, I did like seeing Maguire and Varane center back pairing because I feel like that's been kind of their
Yeah.
results wise. They've gotten the best results with those two guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Varane hasn't been the best, but it seems like this is kind of the best of the worst, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. Best of the worst.
So getting into the game, open game to start. Both sides kind of taking turns with their spells of possession. And then it kind of transitioned into United having more of the ball. And that's when Cristiano Ronaldo does his work. 12th
Out of
minute.
nowhere.
Scores from long range. He says, "Don't mind if I do, J. Rodriguez, be with me." Just some really awful defending from Tottenham on this one. He just walks
Yeah,
up.
you love that space.
Eric Dyer is like, "Please, have a shot. I'm not going to do anything about it."
I know, and then he like looked back as it went in, and it was like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, no, that's Ronaldo, not Fred.
Stinky. Yeah, no, I thought that this was just another one of Tottenham's games where defensively they crap all over themselves. Where it seemed like they're just making even like chances United didn't score on, which were honestly a decent amount. There's a handful of them. It's still like you're just looking at Tottenham's defense and you're like, there's no way you had Champions League aspirations coming in this year. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's just really, really confusing, and it seemed like they were a lot more open than they have been in previous games. You know, normally they are pretty solid defensively just because they kind of get back, get guys behind the ball and try and play on the break.
Yeah, especially this. You would think, oh, Maguire and Varane, we could exploit that if we, sit back and then we just send a ball over the top. Kane can dust both those guys. Son can dust both those guys. Even like the wide defending from United has been very good lately.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was surprised. I was a little surprised. This is probably one of the first games where I felt I didn't totally feel the presence of Kulusevski out there. I think we have to talk about that.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like the United fullbacks this game, I thought they did a pretty
well.
good job.
They definitely did well. They did better than they had been playing.
Tottenham score in the 18th minute through Davies, but he was offsides. And then Tottenham have a good spell of possession after the Ronaldo goal, but not really able to do anything with it. They have a chance through Dyer, who has a shot cleared off the line from Dalot, and then John Moss calls a penalty until his clear handball.
Yeah.
They get their moment.
John Moss bothers me.
John
I don't know why.
Moss
He
does
just looks
bother me.
He looks weird.
Yeah. Kane steps up, levels it from the spot, and that kind of changes how the game is going for Tottenham. That really ignites them. 38th minute, shortly after the penalty, United go down to the other end, and they score through Ronaldo, so they say Tottenham. Sorry. It's just moments like these where it's like completely random, where Tottenham start to play good, and then Ronaldo just goes down to the other end, and it's like, I'm going to score.
They just lack, not only, would you say they lack quality or consistency more? I guess is my question with Tottenham. I feel like it's more so just quality, because sure they're inconsistent, but I just think that stems from them not being that great in the first place. Other than Romero's pretty decent.
That's a good question.
Dyer's consistent enough, or has enough quality and is consistent enough against lower teams, so he should probably be like your third center back, but he definitely shouldn't be your second if you actually want to go like in the Champions League.
I'm going to say quality. I mean, consistency-wise, they do a pretty good job, granted, what they have in terms of a squad.
That's what I'm saying. The talent's not quite there. But good news for you, Antonio Conte. You're not going to get to spend much.
Yeah. Ronaldo scores the second goal. Nice run from Sancho. Reguilon got caught too far back. Poor defending.
See, United is a team where you're like, is it quality or consistency? And it's clearly consistency.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like you have it there. It's just a matter of ironing out the small things that allow you to not shit your pants at least like 4 times a game and let the other team back in it, which they do in this game.
Yeah, goes into halftime 2-1, but Tottenham come out of halftime. They look really good, get a good spell of possession going. Son has a chance go wide in the 61st minute, and then 72nd minute, Harry Maguire strikes, and an own goal draws it level. Reguilon with the last pass that kind of forces Maguire into making the mistake.
But Tottenham do Tottenham things. They start celebrating.
Romero
screaming in Maguire's face.
Yeah, that was not ideal.
Even that, like, it's just, I don't know. I think it's pretty cringe to, like, when you're Tottenham and you're doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, you're not that great to be shit-talking people, but what do I know?
Yeah, especially on, like, an equalizer.
An equalizer with about 15 to 20 minutes left in the game.
You left too much time.
Yeah.
United said, let's do this. Ronaldo forces Lloris into a save, and then in the 81st minute, he makes Premier League history as he caps off the hat-trick on an open header from the corner kick. He rises up like a salmon out of the fresh river.
Wasn't quite, I wouldn't say open. He just absolutely got way above Doherty and made Doherty look terrible.
Yeah, it's hard to compete with Ronaldo on headers. The guy's a freak of nature in terms of jumping ability. And it ends 3-2, United with a massive victory in this one. Ronaldo came out playing angry after being dropped the last game.
Yep.
Scores a hat-trick. Moments like these, they kind of give you chills where it's like, oh, man, Ronaldo hat-trick at Old Trafford on the return. Oof, that's an iconic game, iconic performance. And that's why you have Ronaldo in the lineup, because he's not involved, for a lot of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But he has that quality to just pop up and do something spectacular.
Yeah, even if it's the ability to still create chances for other people, or to take chances that guys on your team wouldn't take generally. So, yeah, massive performance for United. Well, not performance, but result, rather, to stay alive for that hunt for the top 4. As far as Tottenham go, what is there to say? Your defense is just not very good. Your midfield doesn't really help out a ton in defense.
Yeah. Disappointing performance.
I don't know. This is kind of what happens. They don't get that many chances, and they have an extremely high conversion rate, at least early in the year with Son and Kane. Once Kane, kind of got it going, but once that drops off, it's like, you're not gonna be able to just grind out victories against Man U or even any team competing for top 6. If you're playing like West Ham or Arsenal, you can't just grind out victories against them.
Yeah, I think in this game they didn't have such a clear game plan like we saw in previous games. Especially against City, where they had you knew exactly what they were gonna try and do.
Yeah,
this game was like, are you gonna counter or try and hold possession?
It feels like they have an identity, like we've thought for most of the year, where it's like you really just have to shore up the defense no matter what, and then just try and play in the counter. That's your only hope. But it's like this game they have and they've done it before too, where they have they dabble in this identity crisis, and it's like, no, you're not holding possession.
Yeah.
No, you're not getting Reguilon and stuff way upfield. No, don't do that. Mm-hmm. And you saw it with their performance against City, their performances against, albeit not very great teams, Leeds and Everton. You still saw what they were going for.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Moving on to the next match on Sunday, Chelsea versus Newcastle United.
Oh, to the lineups we go. This was a great game right here. Mendy, Malang Sarr, Tony Rudiger, Andreas Christensen, Trevor Chalobah, Jorginho, N'Golo Kante, Mason Mount, Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech, Kai Havertz. For Newcastle, we have Dubravka.
Had to get that in.
Dubravka, Cher, Lascelles, Target, Manquillo, Byrne, Murphy, Almiron, Longstaff, Bruno G, and Chris Wood. As we kind of suspected, more rotation because they played Southampton. I didn't fully expect this. They went a little, pretty much change of formation, kind of moved guys a lot further back, put more defensive guys in there, or at least guys even with just high work rates like Almiron and stuff, guys that can run around and, create some pressure on Chelsea's midfield just by being out there.
Yeah, he's a good player to have in there in these types of games where you're going to have to be doing a lot of defending and try and press.
Yeah, I'd say this game consisted a lot of Chelsea showing the ability to possess the ball, but struggling to get it in the box. Newcastle allowed space and pockets in certain areas, but really kept their form and stuff once it got to the box. Chelsea kind of struggled there. Newcastle, on the other hand, just kind of looking to hoof the ball forward. Kind of a semblance of a counterattack early on, but not really. It was mainly just kind of relying on hold-up play from Chris Wood if he were to win the header. Chelsea kind of looked better as the half went on, but still not quite in full rhythm. And I'd say that's a credit to Newcastle's defense, which it's been really, really good. Let's be honest. It's probably, I don't think it's on City/Chelsea/Wolves top tier, but it's pretty high up there. I'd say it's a slight notch below, is it fair to say they might be on Arsenal's tier lately, how they're playing defensively?
Yeah, lately, yeah.
Main thing in the first half was the Kai Havertz elbow on our friend Dan Byrne. Thoughts?
Burn abuse, that's what it is.
It really is.
See, that's what happens when you're 6'7" or whatever Dan Byrne is. You get elbowed and they do nothing about it.
I feel like they don't. When's the last time you saw a red on an elbow?
Yeah, that's the confusing thing because
if you're Chelsea here, you're saying, okay, sure, if you're going to say it's a red, then it's a red, but in the big game against Liverpool earlier this year, when Mane did it in the second minute against Dave, it wasn't called. So it's I would say if it's as bad as those two elbows were, for example,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say they're reds.
Right. I mean, that like is kind of in its purest form violent conduct.
I don't
mean,
think
elbows can really.
Yeah, I don't think it was on purpose, but
Yeah.
with that said, even though there's no intent,
Mm-hmm.
the action that happened, I mean, I think it should be.
Yeah, it seems like it should be called more often. They give reds for a lot less.
Mm-hmm. I would
So
agree.
It's kind of a weird thing that they kind of look the other way on it.
Chelsea, you could sense a little bit of frustration too as the half was kind of winding down, and then even into the second half. Newcastle's best chance came through Almiron, who had a chance but was saved. Just a edge of the box effort. So second half comes out. Very same style of play in the first half. A little, some back and forth action, but mainly Chelsea holding the ball in Newcastle's defense, staying strong. What did you think of that Chalobah play? Pen or no? He got jersey, but the ref for whatever reason didn't see it. And the weird thing is it went off Murphy.
Yeah.
But they called it for a corner.
Right.
So it's I don't know. I probably would have said it would have been soft because it was jostling, but because of the
seems like
jersey
the
tug,
jersey is kind of like one of those
it
things.
might
that's
have
like,
to
"Whoop."
be. Yeah, which was so strange.
Yeah.
No VAR check.
See,
I don't
it's so frustrating. The consistency is like, where's the consistency? Sometimes you take a VAR look for like 20 minutes, and then
It's
other
one of
things
those that I would absolutely, if it happened in midfield, even if whether Newcastle or on the counter or just anything, and if it's in midfield against a run of play or whatever,
Yeah.
it's 100% a foul.
Yeah.
Depending on circumstances, probably a yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Since it's in the box, they don't call it. So
Yeah, it's strange because I mean, usually that's one of those that's kind of automatic.
just lots of fouls in this half. Very physical game between both sides. Kai Havertz, best chance of the game, heads it right at your guy, Martin Dubravka.
Yeah, I think you got it right.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, once Kovacic was subbed in, it definitely felt like there's a little more edge to Chelsea. He just provides that aspect that kind of frees up Chelsea's playmakers. And at this point, Newcastle was definitely willing to sit back and kind of just make it all fall on Chelsea to go get a winner at this point, which Chelsea eventually does. Jorginho dime onto the foot of Kai Havertz. Perfect touch, perfect shot far post. And a goal like that, it has to be perfection to beat Dan Burn, unironically these days.
Lord Dan Burn.
It has to. Like that pass by Jorginho and that touch by Kai Havertz, you couldn't ask for anything better. And that's the only way you're going to beat Dan Burn these days. And Newcastle's defense.
Yeah, tough one for Newcastle to get almost all the way there to give up the late goal.
Finishes 1-0 for Chelsea.
First loss in 10 for Newcastle.
First loss in 2022.
2022, yeah.
That's wild. One last note about this game before we get into the implications. Dwight Gale got subbed on.
Dwight Gale sighting.
He got
Dwight
subbed
Gale
on. Number 34, Dwight Gale.
on 2022 Newcastle. That's
something. They got to lock him up.
He's more like 2019 Newcastle.
Yeah, massive win for Chelsea with everything hanging over their club. Newcastle, still an amazing performance, especially on a squad rotation game where you're going in trying to be more defensive.
Yeah.
And it literally took a perfect goal to beat you. So
Yeah, for sure.
all you can do is tip the cap. Moving on, we
Hank's
got
favorite game of the season. Everton versus Wolves.
relegation threat Wolves taking on European champions Everton. Or in some alternate universe, that's the case.
Yeah, something like that. Getting in the lineups. Everton, Pickford, Kenny, Holgate, Godfrey, Look at that. Look at that. Woo!
Look at this photograph.
Midfield Ducore, Mikalenko, Coleman,
Every time I look
Van
at
de Beek,
Everton's defense, it makes me laugh.
Richarlison, Damari Gray getting back in the lineup, and Anthony Gordon. For Wolves, Jose Saw, Cody Kilman, Saiss, Marsal, Neves, Johnny, Moutinho, Dendonker, Jimenez, and Hwang Hee-chan up front.
Super Frank had the idea that Mr. Roy Hodgson had of, we can get away with less defense against Wolves. It's Wolves. They can't score.
We'll play a back three of John Joe Kenny, Mason Holgate, and Ben Godfrey.
You might as well went out on the pitch and just like throw dog crap out there.
Oh my! I don't think there's a worse back three in the Premier League.
Jordan Pickford looked at the team sheet and his eyes were like wide open.
All right, lads, come on, lads. 6th minute, Everton actually start off decent. Richarlison gets a chance on the break, but Jose Saw is there to break it up. And
yeah, it's funny because Everton actually played half decent in this game, and it just came down to Richarlison not taking his chances. Which
Richarlison.
Newsflash.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have paid £50 million for that guy.
Well, yeah, that's another story. Some interesting going-ons at the Goodison as tensions were boiling over. You could tell the fans were just irate. They weren't happy to be there. And then Hwang Hee-chan just really frustrating them. He goes down. He gets the trainer on, looks like he's getting subbed off, and then he stands up and just starts running around like nothing happened. And then the game goes on for a little bit, and then he goes down again and gets subbed off, replaced by Podence.
I can't wait until we get to it, but the Southampton-Watford game, afterwards, Hasenhüttl came out and said, Watford were time wasting, but I understand, or something like that. He's like, I respect it, or something like
I
that.
respect the hustle.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I see you, Watford.
Yeah, it was surprising. Everton actually looked decent. They had some good possession. In terms of creating chances, not much there, but hey, they had the ball. That was surprising. But then Wolves, towards the end of the first half, started looking better, started getting the grasp into the game. It's kind of been, Wolves sometimes struggle early on to kind of get into the game.
Yeah, no, I think that this was one of those, because we talked about a letdown performance from Wolves, and, I wouldn't say that they didn't have that letdown result, because we're like, can they really beat Watford and Everton? 2 gimme games. It's like, who knows? Because they drop points early in the year to teams like that. But it's like, with this one, Everton were just so bad that Wolves' subpar first half performance, I don't think mattered.
Yeah, for sure. Goes into halftime, 0-0. Not much separating the two teams. But coming out of halftime, Connor Cody rises up. Nice ball in from Ruben Neves. And Connor Cody goes and celebrates like a true Liverpool fan would. And goes absolutely mental with the away fans.
Imagine not having Connor Cody and Ruben Neves in your daily fantasy Premier League teams. Couldn't be me.
Hank, fantasy guru of the Yahoo Weekly Fantasy.
Of course.
53rd minute, Jimenez has a chance, go just wide from the set piece. 73rd minute, Richarlison has a decent effort, goes wide off the counterattack. I mean, he's really got to do better.
Yeah, no, these, I think you're slightly underselling, like, these chances.
The disappointment.
They were good chances. You need to convert these. We talked about it, it's not worth 50 mil. Even if you're worth like 20 mil, you got to be converting these. These are at least 1 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just bad.
Then in the 78th minute, things go from bad to worse as Mr. John Joe Kenny gets sent off for a really boneheaded second yellow card.
Yeah, I say it all the time. It's one of those where it's like you question whether it's red, but then it's like you think about the decision the guy made. It's like the decision alone is worth you getting a red card. Because why was he going for Jimenez? He's clearly baiting him in to pull it back, and then
And there was no
He wasn't
need
going
to
anywhere.
do it.
Yeah, he's like in midfield.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Very stupid. Wolves get the victory, take all 3 points. This one felt more like Everton beating themselves than Wolves winning.
Yeah, wasn't a spectacular performance from Wolves, like I said. Which is, hey, you got a result. It's very Brighton-esque of you to not play that well, and then you pull a result out of nowhere. So, as far as Everton go, Super Frank, never again reveal that back three. That was too dirty for the whole world to see. That might be like a lower mid-table championship tier.
Yeah, I forget who was saying that on. I forget if it was Carragher, but he said that's a championship back line.
Not even champion, literally like lower mid-table championship. That's so bad.
Yeah.
Pouring out for Super Frank. He's going to do the deed of getting Everton relegated for all our sins and never get a job again.
Oh, you just watch these games and it's like depressing how, I mean, there's like toxicity around the fan base and just disappointment.
They're pretty much morphed into the new, would you say new Newcastle or new West Ham? The way West Ham were going for a while there. Last decade, like mid-teens.
Play
West
style,
Ham.
I would say West Ham, but in terms of like the
No, I just mean kind of atmosphere and club.
I would say Newcastle because things were getting real toxic at Newcastle.
They were pretty bad at West Ham too. I would say Newcastle's the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Ashley, that was
I think
that was really bad.
The Newcastle fan base was just
Which Everton is very much like them, and not to say West Ham doesn't have like a fan base that can be critical or isn't super passionate or anything, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's Newcastle's on a whole nother level.
Yeah, and I feel like Everton fans, they weren't happy when they were like in like 7th place. So,
yeah,
they're definitely not going to be happy in this scenario for, whether that's deserved or not. But yeah, Frank Lampard.
Is there any way he gets sacked before the end of the year?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it's really his fault.
I know.
It seems like the players don't really care other than like maybe like Gordon and...
That might be it.
Gordon and I know Pickford cares.
Oh, Pickford,
and
of course.
Seamus Coleman, of course. But other than that...
Scroll down to the bench real quick. Oh, yeah. Asmir Begovic cares. He cares big time.
Dele Alli.
Rondon cares.
See, that was another thing. The decision to go with the 3-4-3, I would have preferred not having the 3 forwards and throwing Alan in there to add that defensive solidity.
The thing with that front three, too, is Richarlison, Gray, not quite as much Gordon, but those guys are pace merchants.
Yeah.
Are you really going to be getting behind Wolves that often?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. Wolves have good speed wide, so
yeah.
I don't know. But moving on.
To the next game.
Another relegation one right here. This is actually a half-decent game.
Real relegation game.
Leeds, Norwich, lineups, Meslier, Ayling, Llorente, Dallas, Struijk, Forshaw, Rafinha, Rodrigo, James, Click, Bamford. Good to see Pat Bamford in there.
Yeah.
Kroll, Aarons, Gibson, Kabak, Williams, Rupp, Lees-Malou, Kenny McLean, Rashica, Pookie, Josh Sargent.
Again, switching up the lineup, throwing Lucas Rupp in there.
Yeah, just might as well. Dean Smith's always on our wavelength. Always has been, always will be. Leeds, pretty physical early, and it kind of eventually gets feisty in the second half because Leeds playing so physical. Norwich able to possess the ball in Leeds half, but not really doing much with it. Kind of just, what Norwich do. They get early in the year where they get forward and they're like, all right, we're here. Now what do we do?
Yeah.
And that's it.
Oh, we'll try and pass to Pookie.
Oh, you can't get open. We do have a goal early on. Long ball headed down by Norwich on the edge of the box. Not good. Dan James claims it. has the ball taken off him as he's dribbling in Norwich's box by his own teammate Rodrigo, who scores the goal.
That's one way to do it.
One main first half highlight was Norwich assistant getting a yellow card. I love when the camera pans to the assistant coaches yelling, and then the ref walks over, yellow.
Yeah, that happened a week or two ago, and an assistant got a yellow, and they actually put his name up on the graphic, and I was
awesome.
like,
Look at
respect. They know there's a random assistant's name just off the top of their head.
that. Leeds, another great chance inside 20 minutes, and Rafinha just absolutely fluffed the chance. Squared ball right to him. Gets caught in his feet, whiffs on it. He just hasn't been the same. And I get, there's a super over-reliance on him early in the year, and he was clicking pretty well. Wasn't super efficient or anything, but he was still, producing goals and assists. It feels like he had like a little injury spell, and ever since then it's been ugh.
Yeah.
So, Bamford with a perfect cross to Rafinha, who hits the bar. This was the game of Rafinha just not taking his chances. Struijk had 2 chances off a corner. First one was initially saved. Rebound went right back to him, and he skied it over the bar from probably 3 yards out. Very impressive. Bamford missed a couple of chances, and I just couldn't help but think this was very similar in a way to the Leicester game under Marsh, where it's like you have the chances, you're spreading the other team's defense, you're playing fast, lead style, you're just not taking the chances. And you felt like, oh, this might come back to haunt them with how bad their defense is. But second half, Norwich taking chances early, but not able to score. Leeds score as a result of a Norwich giveaway, but Dan James offside. Kroll with a couple big saves on Dan James. I thought Dan James wasn't, he was around this game, but he wasn't like super amazing. I wouldn't say anyone on Leeds was particularly really good. Maybe besides, it's so hard because they created chances, but it's like if you don't take them, is it really a good game?
Right.
What would you say?
That seems like it's kind of been Leeds' thing this season. It's like, yeah, the chances are there, but it's just been so sloppy in the final third in terms of quality, in terms of finishing, actually putting away those chances.
Yeah. Leeds had great chances that stemmed virtually just from Norwich trying to build out from the back. Eventually, Norwich creates some chances of their own as the second half goes on, including Rowe hitting the bar. Pen from Ailing slipping into Rashica. They called it pen. VAR checks it. Ref goes and looks, decides no penalty because I guess McLean was diving, but I don't know. I was just surprised that got overturned. How often do you see a penalty given then overturned?
Yeah.
Very rare. Rafinha, free kick off the bar. But then, late on, 90th minute, 91st minute, Kenny McLean tap in from a ball that was scored by Pukki. When you let Teemu Pukki in behind you at the 90th minute on a long ball,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
You're asking for
What
it.
are you doing? Even the fact that he was able to just run it down, like, oh my gosh. So Leeds thinking that they threw it all away, yet they come back down. Long ball forward, I believe, it was not a goal kick, but Melier sent it long. Won by who other than the super sub, our guy.
Super Joey. Super Joey.
Heads it on to Rafinha in space, and Ben Gibson tipped over. I believe. No, Brandon Williams tipped over as he's marking Rafinha. Rafinha goes one-on-one, dribbles Kroll, squares it. Joe Gelhardt, 2-1. Walk off.
Marshoff, some might even say.
No.
How many times am I going to make Marsh puns?
Forever. 2-1. Leeds victory.
Could this be the game that turns around their fortunes?
It literally should have been like a Brazil is what it should have been, but they didn't take any chances. No, it shouldn't have been that bad, but it probably should have been like 4-1 at least. Norwich, I thought looked fine in terms of, the wide defending. The central defending will forever just not be good. Kabak had mistakes. Ben Gibson, believe it or not, had mistakes. Williams obviously gave away the goal at the end there, which is kind of unfortunate, but I thought he played pretty decently this game. Same with Aarons, so unfortunate for Norwich. Didn't get much in attack this game. Lucky to take one of your 3 okay chances. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Leeds can get it going. Do you have faith?
I don't have faith.
I don't have faith, but they still might stay up. They might have done just enough early in the year, which isn't saying much because they didn't really do a whole lot.
I mean, it's possible they kind of just get lucky to scrape by with just enough.
Speaking of teams that are lucky and they're just hanging in there, Southampton, Watford, the team that won't die, the team that has no spirit when you look at them really.
Yeah.
Their players are just kind of out there. Southampton lineup: Forster, Walker-Peters, Perot, Salisu, Bednarak, Romeu, Ward-Prowse, Armstrong, El Nuacy, Adams, and Small Bone, which was very, very strange to get that rotation in there.
Yeah. I think that says a lot when you're putting Small Bone in ahead of Adam Armstrong and Broja.
Well, it's strange because in this formation, they have him as a 4-4-2, and Smallbone is definitely not a striker in any way, shape, or form. So they did kind of just drop the Broja spot for another midfielder, and it's maybe this would have been a game to try to reincorporate Nathan Redmond or Walcott. I mean, Redmond got subbed on later, but I don't know. If there's ever a game, and there's not many, where those guys can be good, this might have been it. Foster, Kamara, Femenia, Samir, Kabasele back in, getting the start. Loza, Sissoko, Kuchka back, finally. João Pedro, Manuel Dennis, and Cucho Hernandez to the game. Big chance for Southampton early on. Would you believe it? Can't take it as Samir has a goal line clearance. And then, just like that, Watford go down and get their goal. Southampton playing around at the back. Miscommunication allows Cucho to intercept and score. Fraser Forster gave the ball away to João Pedro 5 seconds before the goal. So they're really asking for it when they did it a second time. Watford did a good job, I thought, exposing the flanks pretty well in this game. They were able to get it to Dennis, albeit out wide. You know how I feel. I don't love Dennis out wide as much as I love him central, going towards the net, north and south. Because I feel like when he gets out wide, he's a little, I don't know how to describe it, a little too cute maybe with it.
Yeah,
he's trying to put
too much.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that, especially since he's by far their best finisher.
Right. Yeah, he's kind of got more work to do where he's got to cut inside to try and get a chance.
Yeah, and it's he can do that. And I get you don't have Ismail Yassar right now to be that main outside guy. And it's your best bet is to probably have Dennis be the wide guy and João Pedro to be more central. But it's Southampton, chances, not taking them. What's new?
Water's wet.
Yeah. Watford, score again. Kuchka to Cucho.
How about that?
The Cooch Connection.
The Cooch Connection. Put that on a t-shirt.
The Cooch Connection. Yeah, I didn't feel like Southampton's defense was particularly bad this game. If anything, I'd probably say it was more Southampton's midfield was not doing enough defensively in terms of Romeu, even Ward-Prowse getting back and kind of, putting more pressure on Watford. Kuchka has a chance to make it 3-0, but shot it right at Fraser Forster 1-on-1 with the keep. Pretty unfortunate. Right before half, Southampton take a chance off the set piece, which they had looked dangerous on all game. El Nuacy, header, he got the tap in. He got the tap in off the original header. So 2-1, Second half, Southampton just at this half, you could see it was like a typical Southampton game where they come out strong and then it just fades. Second half, they held the ball, but there was no dynamic edge to their attack.
What's that word? Dynamicism?
Dynamicism.
We'll never know.
Whatever that is.
Put that on a t-shirt.
It's dynamicism. I thought Watford did an all right job holding shape. And I mean, that's why they brought in War Hodgson. They got to keep it somewhat.
Well, the fans don't like him, so.
Oh, too bad. James Ward-Prowse free kick and Shea Adams header, 2 good chances near the end of the game. Big saves by Foster to keep Watford alive. Takes all 3 points. We knew Watford was going to win one of these games, Wolves or Southampton. Yeah. We didn't really know which one.
We were just off by 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Going back to that thing, I was surprised to read about Watford fans that they weren't happy under Hodgson. And they, some of them were saying, oh, we were happy under Ranieri, but the results under Ranieri were just god-awful, abysmal.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, Watford aren't playing very good right now, but they've gotten some results, and I think, they've looked more organized defensively. It hasn't been amazing, but some games they look decent.
I think you're more likely with Hodgson to have a higher points per game average because he'll be able to get even just draws. With Ranieri and Chisco, it was definitely way more boom or bust, as evidenced by their first 2 games of the season. I mean, They looked pretty decent against Villa, and then the very next game looked god-awful against Brighton. So, I guess it depends what you like. Do you like it a little more, safe, conservative, maybe a little more vanilla? Hodgson's your guy. If not, if you want the out of the park, fireworks show of a team, then sure, have Ranieri. But it's like whatever keeps you up.
Yeah.
I mean,
it seems like at this stage is Roy.
Well, clearly he's got them up to 18th. They're tied with Everton on points. Everton has 3 games in hand. But with the way Everton's going and their schedule. Yeah, we didn't even do that. We'll do that at the end. I think Everton have a makeup game, don't they?
Yes.
Okay. We'll loop back to that at the end, their upcoming schedule. 2, the next game, West Ham Villa, the claret and blue special out here.
Yeah, you love to see it. There should be a claret and blue cup. West Ham, Villa, Brighton, or no, sorry, Burnley.
Oh. They had a color change, Brighton. Fabianski, Cresswell, Zuma, Dawson, Johnson, Fornals, Lanzini, Benrahma, Soucek, Rice, Antonio. As for Villa, we have Emi Martinez, Cash, Mings, Chambers, Digne, Luis McGinn, Coutinho, Ramsey, Watkins, Ings.
Sorry, I just got to make one correction. You said Kurt Zuma, and it's actually cat kicker Kurt Zuma.
Yeah, the cat
just
kicker
wanted to
Kurt.
make that clear. Yep. He kicks cats. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The man who gets me out at by Chris Wood.
Panther.
Yeah, this game, honestly, throughout was pretty balanced. It was kind of West Ham was getting a good amount of the shots. Fornals had some really good chances this game. Good to be in those spots, but not able to take advantage for the most part. We'll get there when we get there. Villa, best chance. Coutinho, fancy flick. Fabianski, little nice save there. Not as easy as it looks. West Ham kind of ramp up the pressure over halfway through the first half. One sequence resulting in about 5 to 6 crosses. They were just man-citying the ball. Just João Cancelo crossing that in. High boot right before half. Saw some injury substitutions throughout this half. Just brutal. I think there was probably 7 or 8 injury stoppages. Actual few guys getting subbed off.
That's what happens when you show up to the claret and blue derby.
Yes,
It's
you
war.
leave black and blue. Second half, going in 0-0. Ings probably had the best chance in the first 10 minutes. Fabianski pushes it onto the post. West Ham, 2 chances off a corner, but failed to score. And then we finally get a goal. Antonio, unfortunately, was one of the injury casualties. Went out. On comes Andriy Yarmolenko. Obviously subbed on for Antonio, like I was saying. Gets the goal from Benrahma. Started from a pinged ball from Dawson. Perfect pass to switch up the play. Nice cutback by Benrahma. Able to find Yarmolenko for a fantastic outside the boot finish.
Glory Ukraine.
Glory Ukraine, he says.
Ukraina.
Benrahma this game was probably West Ham's best guy, probably man of the match.
It's about time.
He hasn't really been in the lineup that much. He kind of got extended a run out. Gets his chance from Moyes. Go back in. Takes full advantage of it. You love to see it. He was playing really well early in the year, just like Antonio, and then he kind of faded off. Villa pushing strong after that West Ham goal, but West Ham able to get a second. Ball won by Rice with a nice dribble forward and finds Benrahma wide, plays it across the box for Fornals, unmarked for 2-0. And to cap off the game, Villa going down, throwing everything forward. Buendia winning the ball, dribbling in the box, laying it off top of the box. Mr. Jacob Ramsey with a cool finish. Makes it 2-1. That's how the game finishes. It's kind of unfortunate, not because I was cheering against Villa or anything, but Fabianski was really out of his mind this game for a few of these saves. I kind of want to see him get a clean sheet.
Yeah.
It was deserved.
Yeah, that's always a little disappointing at the end of the game. You give up that goal.
Yeah.
Lose the clean sheet.
But 2-1, probably a fair result in this one, so can't complain too much. Massive win for West Ham. They pretty much have to not win out, but they can only afford like maybe 1 or 2 more slip-ups the rest of the year, if that.
Yeah, it's a tight race, and whoever is going to finish fourth has to be at the very tip-top of their game.
As far as Villa go, another great performance. This time, not such a great result. Not necessarily the story of the year, but kind of a trend for them. There's been plenty of times early in the year where they play fine, and then whatever reason they just didn't get a win.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they lost. They'd sometimes get a draw, but unfortunate for Villa in this one. Breaks their streak they had going of consecutive wins. So, moving on to another fourth place contender, Leicester City. We're back. They're fourth in the bottom half of the table. Talking about Arsenal versus Leicester. For Arsenal, Ramsdale, Tierney, White, Gabriel, Suarez, still no Tomiyasu. In the midfield, Partey, Saka, Odegaard, Xhaka, Martinelli, and up front, Lacazette. Cedric, the perfect depth rotational guy, holding up nice for him.
Yeah, he has been pretty important just because, I mean, he's versatile. He can play on either side.
Southampton's own.
Yeah. It was a weird signing at the time, but hey, he's happy to sit on the bench for a good amount of time, and then he pops up for a good chunk of the season. For Leicester, Schmeichel, Soyuncu, Amarte, Ricardo, Luke Thomas, Harvey Barnes, James Maddison, Albrighton, Mendy, getting his first start in like 11 months or something.
Yeah, wild.
Dewsbury Hall, and Kelechi Iheanacho. A little surprising to see Iheanacho in there, as well as Mendy.
Yeah, no Vardy, so it's like, do they go Lookman? Do they go
Daka?
Normally when it's a solo striker, they go Daka, but I don't know. They must feel good about kind of Iheanacho paired with Harvey Barnes and stuff out there. So
yeah. Getting into this game, Arsenal get off to a good start, kind of like what we've seen from them this season.
Yeah.
11th minute. Leicester City's defending from set-piece woes continue as Thomas Partey is just completely wide open at the near post
They didn't even have a guy on the near post. Who the hell is Leicester's coach for these set pieces?
I don't know, but they should be fired because it's just awful. Like, how can you be so bad? I mean,
It's one
especially
thing
when
to
you
be
got-
so bad for like a little bit, and then like you put so much focus and effort
Yeah.
that it's like you just get to be okay. This is like,
Yeah.
but this is like negligent. Like I said, they didn't have a guy on the near post.
Mm-hmm.
How many teams don't have a guy in the near post? Off a corner, that's bad.
Yeah, honestly, just shocking levels of defending there.
Yeah. Then Partey had another chance in the first half.
Yeah, Partey with another chance hit off the crossbar, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's tipped or not, but I'm pretty sure at the bar.
And then the second half of the first half, Leicester actually started putting some chances together.
Ramsdale had
Ramsdale
to make one or two saves.
came up clutch again. Ben White with a huge tackle on James Maddison.
Who was the save on? I don't remember. There's a big time save.
Yeah, there was a couple of really clutch saves. I forget. Let's see if it says here. Harvey Barnes. That's who it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Twice tested Aaron Ramsdale. Yeah, Ramsdale coming in clutch. You love to see it. I mean,
Can I offer you a banana for a coconut today, my friend?
oh jeez. Okay, that was about Harvey Barnes, by the way. Making a funny face there.
This is about Soyuncu. He's lying to you.
Yeah, it was Soyuncu. Yeah, Harvey Barnes. He was looking impressive again this game, I thought. Kind of in that good spell of possession for Leicester in the first half. He was kind of really the only one who was getting it going,
Yeah.
to be honest. But there was just some great saves out of Ramsdale. Ben White was pretty massive as well in this one, making some clutch blocks, one on James Maddison.
Yeah, I wonder if going forward for Leicester, just to cut it back to them for a second, since you're not really going anywhere, is the best result of this year or just like thing to do, your best objective, I guess, for the rest of the year, just like let Harvey Barnes figure it out. Just throw him out there and let him, whether it's him creating chances for someone else or him taking the chance, kind of let him be a focal point.
Yeah.
I mean, he already kind of is like one of their, I would say he's a secondary guy. If there's any way you can just kind of throw him out there and if there's any way for him to grow into like a
Right.
main guy,
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
since there's probably going to be no Vardy or limited Vardy, and Madison just came back from injury, but is still kind of, feeling his way back.
Yeah,
Is
he's not a guy
Tielemans-
that you want to fully rely on all the time. Tielemans on the
think-
bench for this one.
Yeah, he just came back though, right? He was out for a stretch.
Yeah, but I think he started in the last game.
Yeah, but they're still working him back.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely some rotation out of Leicester.
Yeah. But anyways, my point still stands. I think your best bet's to just kind of let Harvey Barnes do his thing because you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I
So-
agree for sure. For sure, just try and get some guys going. Harvey Barnes is going to be a guy who you hope to have at the club for a while and try and get him going. We forgot to mention Brendan Rodgers, his great reaction to one of Ramsdale's save where he initially was like, yes,
Yeah.
goal, and then he's like in shock, and he's like, okay, clap.
That gif might as well be their season.
Respect to Aaron
That
Ramsdale.
might as well have been their whole season in a gif right there. Him celebrate, and then it just immediately goes downhill. Terrible.
It's funny because Brendan Rodgers is always praising Arsenal. He's just
He wants the
waiting
job.
for the job one day. It may have passed, but anyways, goes into halftime, 1-0. And then second half, Arsenal get the penalty. Soyuncu with the foul in the box.
Yeah.
Just-
Lacazette converts. It was
Just
kind
a
of
very poor penalty to give away.
Yeah, I was very confused as to why Schmeichel was like freaking out that Lacazette like stopped, because it wasn't even like he fully stopped. He just like hesitated for a split second on the penalty.
Yeah, right.
He like came sprinting off the line. It's like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, Casper Schmeichel.
And I think I said foul in the box, but it was a handball kind of stopping the ball to go in the net. Yeah, it was weird that they took so long to look at that in the VAR because I think it was pretty obvious his hand was
it hit his
sticking
hand
out, and you watch the flight of the ball, it changes. Yeah, so Lacazette converts the penalty. Arsenal go up 2-0, and Leicester had some more possession and some half chances, but overall Arsenal did enough to keep the clean sheet.
Yep.
It wasn't the most convincing performance, but it was good enough.
Yeah, no, I mean it was no 3-0 like I called, but I would say, yeah, their defense never really looked like super tested, even though they did have the one amazing chance, but that was just Harvey Barnes with his Harvey Barnes magic that he does every once in a while, and Ramsdale was up to the task to stop it, but other than that, you're right, there wasn't much challenge. As far as Arsenal's attack, didn't look amazing. Like
other than Odegaard.
Yeah, Odegaard looks really good this game, but I mean, you still, in my opinion, are without your best attacking player in Emile Smith-Rowe, but you still, I mean, Odegaard's definitely one of those guys who could be a main guy for a team, so he might as well
and I think
be your best.
The goal has to be
and get away with him as your best.
Getting someone who can link up well with Odegaard. Like I said, he's come in, he's done a good job, but
He's been really good lately.
In terms of getting the goals, he's not that guy. Someone's got to be there to put away the chances.
Lacazette's almost like what Neil Maupay is supposed to be.
Yeah, hold up play and kind of
can get in behind, but he's not necessarily there to score goals, but he can also create chances for other people. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, he will take his own chance every once in a while.
Yeah, they do play a pretty similar role, but Maupay just is not very good.
Say that to his face.
But
say that to his face.
Going into the last match of the week, Crystal Palace versus Manchester City yesterday, Monday night.
Yes.
Lineups: Guaita, Mitchell, Gahey, Anderson, Klein, Koyate, Schlupp, Gallagher, Olise, Zaha, Mateta. Interesting to see Schlupp in there, and then that front three as well, I thought.
Yeah. Going against City, you're like, oh, they'll load up defensively, but I don't know.
That's pretty
Gallagher
attacking.
wasn't really going for that much. Not that he's like super defensive-minded or anything, but him and Kouyate were, holding it down. And Schlupp, I guess, if you're looking at more like he's in the midfield, but he can almost act as like a pressing forward at times and kind of rotate out with people. It's like, that's one way to look at it. And especially since like City are going to be a little further back when they're kind of pushing. It's going to be through Cancelo and De Bruyne. Mm-hmm. It's like those guys are going to have to be further up the field, guys like Schlupp and Elise and Mateta and stuff. So it's like you might as well have them, out there to run at the City
and
deep
it makes
line
sense
playmakers.
From an attacking point of view because you're solely going for a counterattack.
Yeah.
You're not trying to hold possession ever.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just pretty much putting all your marbles into the counterattack.
Yeah.
For Manchester City, Ederson, Walker, Stones, Laporte, Cancelo, Rodri, De Bruyne, Silva, Jack Grealish, Mahrez, and Phil Foden.
Yeah, Grealish out there. How about that?
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, random rotation by Pep. I'll be honest, I don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, when you spend $100 million on a guy, you gotta throw him out there sometimes.
Yeah.
Really, it's been pretty disappointing, honestly, for Jack Grealish.
You're underselling again.
This season is just...
Sam's underselling again.
You paid
$100 million for him.
$100 million for like 2 goals and 2 assists.
He's got to be good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, even though as crazy as that is, I think we're seeing a balance among Premier League teams to try to not be over-reliant on 1 or 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, City has always been the example of that. They have their system, but Think about how many teams there are that just have like a bunch of guys with like 4 goals.
Yeah.
There's a ton. It's like you look at Salah, who's so far ahead of everyone in goals, and it's like, oh, well, I mean, and part of that's just Liverpool are going to score a bunch. That's why Mane's up there, and
Yeah.
Jota and stuff. But, yeah, teams are just kind of like, we feel better not just relying on one guy, whether it's if he doesn't have it that day or he gets hurt, then we're really screwed. It's like going in and having balance to your squad.
Goals
I think.
by committee.
Yeah,
rather
I think
than
is a
one
way
guy.
these teams might be looking at it.
Getting into the game, City starting, just the way you would expect them to, holding on to the possession. And, of course, Palace looking to play on the counterattack.
Yeah, Palace had some pretty decent chances inside about 15 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. You could tell that the threat was there, and not too surprising. They did that in the first match, and it worked very well. Especially, when Man City was having the ball between their defenders, Palace was doing a really good job of just forcing them into making mistakes. And
Yeah,
trying
like
to capitalize on
that one, I forget who it was. I think it ended up with an Elise shot, but Kyle Walker just like panicked, passed the ball to absolutely nobody in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
He just completely gave it away. And I mean, that's what you get with that kind of the pressing forwards out there that Vieira fielded this game.
Yeah, it was surprising to see Man City's defense look so shaky in possession, because that's kind of, they're supposed to be really good at that, but it was not that
even
good.
that. It's like, isn't that what you want, to kind of teams to pull out a bit, and then your quick passes are gonna, I don't know. I guess not. They love to go slow and methodical.
Yeah. City, they were having a lot of ball, but didn't have the best of chances. I mean, most of their chances were coming from outside of the box.
Yeah. The Cancelo hit.
Yeah, Cancelo hits one off the post from long range, and Laporte had a chance to score off the rebound, but, I mean, it was a really fast ball right at him.
I would have scored.
Yeah, City hit the post like 3 times during this game.
Yeah.
It was pretty unlucky. It has to be said.
Even his shots weren't amazing this game, but they're still decent enough to where they required a pretty good save. Mahrez, that is, had some. So
yeah, you could definitely tell the threat was there, but then, like we were saying, Crystal Palace had the threat on the counterattack. Elise had some good moments. Mateta had some good moments. They just couldn't put it together into finding the goal.
Yep.
They kind of had everything except for the goal. They'd get to shooting and they just
drag it wide or something.
Drag it wide, or just not have a good shot, or the defender would get back just in time to block it. Goes into halftime 0-0. The frustration was starting to build from City in terms of having so much of the ball, but not really being able to break down Crystal Palace. And I got to say, one person who I thought performed really well was Derek Mitchell. He was really limiting the space out wide for City to try and get it and then bring it into the box, which they really like to do, kind of towards the end line, and then cross it back in.
As dumb as it is, I wonder if teams might be a little hesitant to buy him, only because you might even just draw comparisons with Wan-Bissaka. Not that they're necessarily the same player or anything, but Palace fullback and stuff. It's like, okay, make the jump. I'd love to see a big team. Well, I don't know if I'd love it because I like Palace, but go and get Tyreek Mitchell. I think he could fit with a few of these teams. If I'm Tottenham, I'm going for him right now, immediately.
Yeah, I still feel like he's pretty under the radar. I feel like it's maybe starting to come out that people are paying attention to him. Yeah. I think he would have been good. Arsenal were looking at him, I know, in the offseason, but decided to go with Nuno Tavares. But yeah, I think he's definitely a solid player. Maybe not the best going forward, but he's pretty defensively sound.
Yeah.
But he can get forward.
Yeah, he can definitely get forward, but like you said, he's definitely more defensive minded. He's no like one of those guys who's like a borderline wing back because he's
Yeah.
pretty much a winger who plays a little bit of defense.
Yeah, which seems to be the trend is that there's a lot of chance creation coming out of fullbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think about guys like Matty Cash,
Yeah.
a guy like that, or Digne, or of course Liverpool's fullbacks, Cancelo. A lot of chance creation coming out of there. Tierney's another one. It's kind of been like the death of defensive fullbacks.
Yeah. I would say the perfect encapsulation of it has to be Reece James, right?
Reece James, yeah, for sure.
Chilwell's
That's a good
kind of
point.
more, I guess, closer to Mitchell in a way because was definitely a defensive-minded guy,
Mm-hmm.
but he has that attacking presence too. It's hard to find
Yeah.
wide defenders that don't have at least some aspect to their game that's like
Mm-hmm.
incorporating in the attack.
Yeah, it's just become such a vital part of the way a lot of teams like to play.
Everyone's copying Leighton Baines.
Yes, exactly. The true OG attacking fullback. Getting into the second half, City just continued to build and tried to find their way through. De Bruyne hit the post from close range, and then Mahrez had a chance saved. Edouard has a chance but can't score.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for Palace. I thought that was a good one. Edward just, I don't know, he's not getting that much game time. And hey, I mean, Mateta's playing really well, so it's hard to get him out there for a start. But no, I think that City, it was like, I mean, it's kind of hard to just boil it down to just finishing in this in terms of not taking the chances. But I thought their passing was fine. I thought, we've seen times where it's like City's passing the ball and they're just clearly off.
Yeah.
This wasn't one of those games. Their passing was fine. Their system looked good. Bernardo Silva missed 2 really good chances. Grealish had that one where he squared it straight across to him and he just completely whiffed on he put it wide. He like barely got his pinky toe on it and he put it wide. Like that has to be in. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, this one seemed like it was just one of those games where it kind of gets away from you. And
it's one of those games where it gets away from you, and it's one of those games where people look and be like, see, you need a 9, City.
yeah,
You need a striker.
yeah.
It's like,
But really, they could have won that game easily.
Yeah, I mean,
It just didn't really fall their way on the night. They hit the post.
Yeah, we kind of sound like we're coping for Man City, but still, it is true, though. It's like, I mean, how many times out of 10 does Bernardo Silva miss that tap in?
Yeah. I mean,
Like maybe 1 or 2?
they were for sure the better team, looked a lot more likely to score.
You were kicked out of the Crystal Palace fan club. You can excuse yourself.
I mean, Palace did good, but you play that same game 10 times over and you feel like Man City wins it.
Probably 6 or 7.
Yeah, I was going to say 8, but
I'd say probably 7 with 2 draws and then 1 Palace win if they strike on their chances early.
yeah,
But
that's fair. But it's not like it's catastrophe for City or anything.
they still have the lead.
Yeah.
They still have the lead by 4 points. City or Liverpool with the game in hand. So could go down to 1 point. But
could.
at least you're in the lead.
Yeah.
All right. Give me 5 guys that impressed you this week.
Okay, I'll take one from that last game. Tyrk Mitchell, number 1. Let's see. Looking through this. Odegaard, number 2.
Yep.
Cristiano Ronaldo, number 3.
Oh, boy.
Hat-trick man himself. Dan Burn.
Yeah. Played well this
He
week.
played well. And then I'm going to say Ruben Neves.
Ruben Neves has been popping off.
Yeah, popping off.
I think for my guys of the week, Kai Havertz has to be said. Said Benrahma for the comeback out of nowhere. Ivan Toney for being top 5 in Premier League goals.
Somehow.
I don't know how.
I think that just
No one's even.
I think that just goes to prove your point that it's not really like a one guy per team kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a guy score, what's he at?
I think he's at like 10 or 11.
Yeah. I mean, not a large amount of goals by any means, but just that amount can get you right up there.
Yeah. Last two guys, Matty Cash, who we might have said last week, but I don't think we did. I think we just mentioned he was playing really well.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, Super Joey Gelhart.
Super Joey.
Has to be said when you go out there and score a game winner against Norwich.
Yeah, maybe he'll get a start in the next match.
Yeah, I mean, I think they probably wanted Bamford to go 60 minutes this last game. He only went 45.
Mm-hmm.
So they should keep going pretty slow with him. I get it.
Yeah.
You're in a relegation race. You cannot afford to bring him back too soon, and he goes down and he's out for the year.
Especially, that's what happened. They brought him back, and then he got hurt again.
Yeah, you can't do it twice in 1 year.
Yeah. Getting into the fixtures for this week,
Previews.
we got games tomorrow. A couple games. First one, Brighton versus Tottenham Hotspur. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Brighton, bit of a tailspin. Spurs, it feels like we keep saying this, but they're looking to rebound.
Looking to rebound. They win, and then they lose.
And then they win, and then they lose. Definitely for Tottenham, get Kulishevsky back in the mix more. As far as Brighton go, last game, your defense held up pretty decent against Liverpool. One dumb mistake gave them a penalty, and then, you got beat once, so it's not too terrible. But the attack has to get something going. I wonder is it good that Brighton will probably have a lot of possession in this and Tottenham sit back? I mean, that's assuming Tottenham don't have their identity crisis where they think they get to hold the ball
I
all
feel
the
like
time.
Tottenham will be holding the ball,
Yeah.
and I think it'll work out for them this game just because Brighton are not very good right now.
Yeah.
But then there's a part of me that's like, Brighton have been so bad for so long. They got to win sometime.
Eventually.
Just by the law of averages.
The Premier League's kind of like UFC in a way where it's like for mid-table clubs, it's like, think of them as like upcoming UFC fighters where it's like they get hot. They get hot, and they're like, oh, here they come. And then you're just waiting for that one loss to pull them back down to earth.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, yeah, there it is.
And then three
But
fights
then
later, they're like out of a contract.
Yeah, pretty much. And it can't really go the reverse that way for UFC, so I can't compare it where it's like it's just going so rough, and then it starts, you find it. But
Yeah,
it does always happen for Premier League teams, especially teams staying up like Brighton. So
Yeah.
I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. But if I had to pick a winner, it'd definitely be Tottenham, like 2-1 or something. But
Yeah.
I'll go 1-1 draw.
I'm going to say 2-0 Tottenham.
Arsenal, Liverpool, massive match at the Emirates.
Yeah, makeup game.
What are you looking at?
I'm concerned missing out on Tomiyasu. I'm a little nervous about whether the defense can handle what Liverpool has to offer. Salah might not be 100%, which is good, but then you look at Liverpool and they got a
They
lot of
have
guys that
Aston
can hurt
Villa's
you.
Luis Diaz.
Yes, exactly.
And they have Mr. Mane.
And then I'm just a little concerned about the offense scoring against Liverpool.
See, I'm not as worried about the attack as I am about the defense. I'm a little worried about the attack, but it's more 80-20, just because Liverpool is so good in attack. I want to see the midfield battle and who's going to win that. Because both sides have certain aspects of the game where they're stronger than the other as far as midfield goes. So I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw in this one.
I'm going to say 2-1. I feel like Martinelli might score in this one.
You go with the Liverpool one?
Liverpool win, yeah.
Okay. Everton, Newcastle. We're going to host a watch party at Sam's house for this.
Everyone come watch and make fun of Everton.
At like 1:45 in the afternoon Central Standard Time.
Yeah, 2:45.
2:45.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the way Newcastle's playing right now, sure they lost this one, but they played so well, it's hard to imagine that they just stopped playing well right now. But that's when things shift out of nowhere. So
Yeah, I expect another toxic atmosphere at the Goodison.
Everton's wins might have to come on the road. Well, we saw them beat Leeds on the road at Ellen. They beat them, what, 3-0?
3-0, yeah.
I don't know if they can do it at Goodison because it's just
Too many home games.
the toxicity.
Yeah, it's
of
not
our
good.
city. Yeah, let's go 2-0 Everton. Everton, Newcastle.
I was about to
Bruh.
say. I'm going to say
Drop a bruh.
1-0 Everton. I didn't. What's going on? Everton's like voodoo mind tricking
I don't
us.
know, dude. Maybe they're gonna win, and they're trying to use telekinesis to tell us.
Yeah, 1-0 Newcastle.
Wolves, Leeds, Friday the 18th. What are your thoughts on like one game per day, just throughout the week?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I think I might kind of like it.
Yeah,
I
it's
definitely
not
don't
bad.
like it compared. I like the ideal schedule is 7 Saturday, 3 Sunday,
Maybe
this-
one on Friday.
maybe one on Friday, one of the Saturday ones. But Wolves Leeds at Molineux. This one, I don't know. I mean, Villa, you kind of know how to play Leeds, but Villa really laid out the template of like, just make sure that they're not going to feel comfortable in their own end when they're trying to build out fast, and make sure that you're kind of deeper than normal. So when they're trying to hit Harrison and stuff long, they're not able to as successfully. As far as Leeds, what they got to do, I don't know. Do you think they go? Think they copy Everton and Watford and try to go more attack than they normally do?
I don't think that's
Against the Wolves?
possible. Their lineup is always just
All they have
insanely
is attack.
unbalanced.
I'm going to go, even though Leeds had a great win, you think this might be the turn. I'm going to say, no. Here comes a Wolves 2-0 win.
I'm going to say Wolves 2-1.
Villa, Arsenal, Villa Park.
Yeah, it's a big game for Arsenal.
Yeah, really is. Following up Liverpool with Villa, not easy.
Yeah, not easy. It's just going to show Arsenal's, they have the games in hand, but these are tough matches here.
Yeah.
You have 3 hard games in hand. Next thing you know, you're sitting in the
maybe
same
got
spot
3
everyone
points.
else.
Yeah, you maybe got 3 extra points, but yeah, no, and the way Villa's been playing lately, really tough, especially in midfield, and their attack has a certain edge to it right now.
Yeah.
Coutinho obviously has brought a whole nother level to that team, and the dynamic between Ings and Watkins seem to be on the same page as of right now, creating a bunch of chances. So, as far as Arsenal go, Villa's defense can be a little error prone at times, especially with mistakes like giving away pens or, getting caught out and then you commit the wrong foul and there's a red card. It'll be interesting to see with Arsenal squad rotation what they're going to be looking at.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I'm going to go with a draw, but I don't feel good about it. I would favor Villa to win.
Yeah, I was thinking a draw, either 1-1 or 2-2.
I'm going to go with a 1-1,
Yeah.
but I would favor Villa to win if I had to pick a side to win.
Last 2 matches on Sunday. Only 7 games this week. Leicester versus Brentford.
Oh, boy. At the King Power.
Don't even get any Burnley action.
Brentford playing a little better.
Yeah.
Last 2
Leicester's just
games.
kind of Leicester.
Yeah, Leicester's, it's like, can you meet this threshold of quality of play that Leicester is? It's not very high threshold, but it's pretty.
It's a threshold.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what I'm mainly going to be looking for is if Eriksson can keep up this play,
Yeah.
and how involved he'll be, because it seemed like he wasn't like super involved in that Norwich game. This game, it felt a little more involved, I thought. But
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you looking at in this?
Yeah, I'd like to see a good game out of James Madison and Harvey Barnes potentially again, and try and get some goals up front for whoever's going to be up there, whether it's a Iheanacho again or Daka.
Yeah.
In terms of Brentford, you've got some wins. They haven't been the most convincing necessarily, but maybe Ivan Toney can score
Work
some more
his
goals.
magic.
I guess we'll see.
Maybe he can somehow make a teammate draw a penalty against Leicester's defense, and then he scores. I don't know. I'm going to say Brentford 2-1, only because, I mean, the main thing that we should talk about for this preview is if Brentford's able to get their long throws and their corner routines, I mean,
True.
they're good at that.
Ivan
And
Toney
Leicester,
might score a header.
yeah, Leicester not very good at that, so I'll go 2-1 Brentford.
I'm going to say 1-0 Leicester.
Tottenham,
London
West Ham.
Derby.
Tottenham, West Ham
Tottenham, West Ham.
at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
This one's always a good one. Always enjoyable. Yeah, Tottenham. Who knows what Tottenham? We'll see. I don't know what to expect ever. Are they going to be good? Are they going to be bad?
I think I would almost have to bet my life this one they're sitting back.
Yeah. I
I don't know what else you'd be doing against West Ham. West Ham struggle against teams that just sit back solely, and their defense, well, it's not bad at all. It could definitely be caught out on the counterattack every once in a while. So I'll still, I think I have to go with the draw on this one, even though West Ham's defense and midfield are so much better than Tottenham's. I just a little afraid of Kane and Son. So I'm going to go with the draw. I'm going to go 1-1.
Yeah, this one feels like a must-win for either side if they have any hopes of finishing top four. You think Spurs, if they lose this one, that's got to be really demoralizing.
That's done. That's lights out. That's curtains.
And you look at West Ham, they win this one.
You're still below Wolves.
Yeah. West Ham win this one. Potential they could go on a run to the end of the season.
Maybe.
Get some mojo going. Yeah, I think it should be a good game. I'm going to say 2-1 West Ham.
I like it. Any predictions minus the Martinelli will score a goal? That is the last game, correct?
Yep, that's the last game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Callum Chambers hat trick against his
Callum
old team.
Chambers revenge goal.
Celebrates like David Luiz against Chelsea when he's on PSG. Sliding on his knees, just screaming. Yes!
Yeah, I think Martinelli goal against Liverpool. I think that'll be my prediction.
All right.
Nothing's jumping out at me.
Not Ivan Toney hat trick.
That
That you
Ivan
predicted
Toney
for
might
a one,
score. Yeah.
for a 1-0 Leicester victory, and then turn around and say Ivan Toney will score. Ivan Toney will score.
Ivan Toney is going to score. He's going to score a great goal right off the top of his head. He's got a great head. Great head. Best in the league. He shaved his hair.
It
Fantastic.
goes down to his neck. He's got a great neck tattoo.
Great neck tattoo. Crown. He's a true king. True king.
That'll do it for us today, folks.
We've started to lose our sanity, so that means it's the end of another episode. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next week
Adios.
for another episode.